Hello and welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining us again. Our guest is returning guest, Wendi Dumbroff, a licensed professional counselor, and I'm happy to welcome her back. Wendi, for those of our listeners who aren't familiar with our conversations in the past, tell us what you do.
Hi, Neal. First, thank you so much for having me and for having me back again. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a licensed professional counselor. I have a private practice in Madison, New Jersey, and like most therapists, I work with individuals, and I also have specialized training with family, couple, and sex therapy. And I work with all of those people, and I work on relationships. I'm all about relationships. And there's another piece of my practice, which is mindfulness and meditation. That's something I'm very passionate about in my personal life, and I bring these skills to my clients as well.
It's not just, couples or children, the entire family. So you've got to be extremely busy and extremely knowledgeable when it comes to helping folks find that solution to help their relationships go more smoothly. When you're talking about mindfulness, what is mindfulness and what does a lack of that look like?
Okay, well, that is such a great question. Just to say, as simple as mindfulness is, to preface it, is as complicated as it is. Mindfulness is very simply about being present in the moment. It's about opening and being receptive to whatever is being known right now. So, for example, for anyone who might be listening to this at home, if you just take a moment and stop and all the thoughts that are going through your head, and even as you're sitting and listening to this program, maybe you're thinking about what you should have done differently this morning or what you have to do later, and your mind is wandering all over. But just to stop and come into this moment, dropping into your body, noticing what's happening right now. And you can even just very simply notice the feel of the chair. If you're sitting in a chair, the feel of the chair underneath you, the feel of your feet in your shoes. Maybe you're washing dishes, the feel of the water on your hands as it comes out of the sink, the sound of it, whatever is being known right now, to open to that. And in addition to opening to and being receptive to whatever is being known, even if what is being known, by the way, is an attitude of, this is just so silly and ridiculous, right? Notice, skepticism, not open, closed off, just noticing whatever is there. And in addition to whatever it is you are noticing, you are bringing a kind and loving attention and a non-judging experience to that. So, I can't, a lot of people say to me, I can't meditate, my mind wanders, I can't even do this. I'm terrible at this. I can't do this. And just to notice the judging and to then not even judge the judging. So it's being in this place of opening and receptive to what is it that's being known right now, and to bring to that a very warm and kind and compassionate space for yourself.
Is it more important to focus on what's going on now, regardless of what is going on now in the present? Or is it more important to recognize and internalize what's going on now and ascribe certain emotions and feelings to it, as you suggest? Because knowing what's going on, you're riding down the street, you're driving, you're noticing things. How do you stay in the present when everything is pulling you away from the present?
That is a beautiful question, and that is a question that we all have, and it's all of the things you just said are important, right? It's the focusing on the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, or just noticing the car in front of you, right? And yes, we are wired to think. So our minds will naturally wander. We have billions of neurons in our brain. We're wired to think. So, of course, our minds are going to wander. But that moment of when you notice, no longer present, and you come back, is actually just as important as the moments of present, because that's the practice. It's the coming back and the coming back and the coming back. It's a training for so many things. And here's one very kind of concrete example. So when I work with couples, and couples inevitably, we probably talked about this last time, get into some sort of cycle with each other. And so, for example, maybe one person, very often I'll hear the woman just starts to pursue in a heterosexual couple, pursue, and the husband will just kind of shut down. Sometimes it's the other way around, but let's just take this for example. So, or maybe both partners start to escalate and it gets louder and louder, right? And they go into these very habitual cycles of arguing. No matter what the content is of their argument, they just argue and argue. If each of them had the ability to stop and to pause and to take a moment before you launch right into those very predictable cycles that you're in, right? And to stop and to notice, well, what's really happening for me right now? Okay, he didn't take my clothes to the cleaner as I asked him to because I really need them for this meeting I have on Friday. And I'm upset about that. And what does it mean to me? There's always meaning underneath things. And the type of meditation that I teach is called insight meditation. And that is that when we calm the mind, very organically, insights will come up. And this is part of the process of therapy too, but to understand what are the deeper meanings? Where is this from? Why am I so activated right now? And but you need that ability to pause. And mindfulness is a training in that.
So if I'm understanding correctly, being mindful means knowing that what's going on right now could very well and most likely have nothing to do with what's really the cause of this argument or this cycle. You say the content of the argument isn't really as important as the cycle of the argument. So being mindful of right now as opposed to living in the past or projecting to the future and trying to bring those two into the present.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and just to refine that a little bit more, it's actually more of an outcome of mindfulness. Mm-hmm. So the mindfulness is about being present in the moment. And meditation is a formal practice of mindfulness. You don't, by the way, I recommend meditation. I think it's very important to have those moments. It's very profound what happens when we quiet our mind. But mindfulness can be practiced informally, as I said before, just when you're sitting, noticing when you're taking a shower, noticing the feel of the water on your body. Mind wanders, come back, walking to your car, walking down the street, noticing the feel of the air on your face, just choosing something. And so to come back to your question, it's not necessarily about the deeper meaning, but it opens us to the awareness of what may be underneath our anger or our joy or our jealousy, whatever it is.
Is it possible that being mindful and taking that pause gives you the ability to choose what to focus in on and problem solve or reflect or whatever, rather than having these random thoughts that you just reach out mentally and grab here and there, everywhere, all throughout the day? Is that part of it?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful way to put it. It gives us choice. When we open some space, right, when we stop, and instead of going right into, beating up our partner, for example, right, about what they did or didn't do for us or what we're upset about, when you have that space to stop and to pause, you have choice. That was the perfect word for it, right? You have choice there. And you can choose to do something different. You can choose to say to your partner, I'm really angry right now, and I'm not sure why I'm this angry. And maybe I just need a timeout so we can talk about this better. Or I feel myself shutting down right now, and I know that I need to stay present to have this discussion, but I'm having trouble doing it, and I'm not sure why. And, sometimes people do need the help of a therapist to understand these things that may come up or work through things. That's perfectly normal. and useful. But you can see what a difference that can make when you have that choice to do something differently, to choose anything but the habitual pattern that is just not useful in your life.
Well, Wendi, as always, it's a pleasure. Where can we go online and learn more about mindfulness and your practice?
Oh, thank you so much. My website is wendydumbroffTherapy.com. It's Wendi with an I at the end, not a Y, like most people spell it. And I'm actually going to be starting mindfulness groups, an 8-week group in the fall in my practice. And that is right on my website under mindfulness at wendydumbroffTherapy.com.
Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you, Neal. I appreciate you having me.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. Transcripts and audio of the program are available at hpr.fm, healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, listen in, and download at SoundCloud. And be sure and visit our affiliates page at hpr.fm.